Welcome. This is the Faithful Coach Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Faithful Coach Podcast. I'm Bob Pinto, your host, and today I'm with my favorite girl.
Oh. Kasey Fagan?
Nope.
Yeah.
My favorite girl is Dottie Richardson Pinto.
Hello.
And one of our other favorite girls, Kasey Fagan Graham. Welcome to the show again, Kasey.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, the Fagan family, that podcast was so fun. Did you have a good time doing it, Kasey?
Oh yeah, it was the best time. It's always fun, like, number one, catching up with my dad and my other sister, but just like reminiscing. That's probably the best part.
I mean, your dad was so moved. I just thought that was just priceless and precious.
Yeah, I said it last week, but he's super hard on himself with how he raised us. But he texted us all later and was like, I'm so proud of you guys.
Oh.
Well, that's why we're doing this podcast, because your dad is a 1 on the Enneagram.
Yes, he is.
We got to talk about those things. I know we've done a few of these, but not on this podcast.
No, we haven't done this. This is an interesting topic, the Enneagram. I've never heard of it until 4 years ago, maybe 5
Spelling
years.
it Enneagram, Ennea, meaning a 9, Enneagram 9.
Well,
it is a model of behavior. I kept thinking it was personality, but Bill and myself will be doing a special on the Enneagram at the NFCA convention, which Bob and I will be leaving for tomorrow. And we're excited about presenting it, but he's like an expert, but Kasey is very close to being an expert on it.
Well, let me give you a little background, because you guys found this. I don't know, you can explain how you found it, and then you use it for the team, and you kept telling me, you got to take the test, and I did not want to take the test, because I don't want to be put in a box. But so I took the test, and
he's living in a box.
And I came out a 5, because we do live in boxes, I think 5s, but they can explain that later. But I will say this, after all the, what's the word I'm looking for? Fighting the fact that I didn't want to take the test. I think, listening to Dot and Kasey, I realized that every coach needs to have the Enneagram test given to each one of their players, so you can better understand your players and know how to communicate, know what to say, not to say. I mean, it goes really deep, but it has definitely helped the Liberty softball program.
Well, with this podcast, we can't get into everything about the Enneagram because there is so much, but I love the Enneagram because, number one, it demonstrates that we know there is a God. You go, what? Well, it's because there's design in the world. That is one of the many reasons how we know that God exists. And the design, when you look at DNA, for example, and you change a genome, you can change species, right? I mean, there is design, though, with all species, with double helix, you can just go on and on. Well, why not in personality? So when you look at what was it like the first century, Kasey, the monks were kind of studying it all and realizing, did God have a design for models of behavior? And they found these 9 basic types, but you're not just in a box, like Bobby said. Basically, everyone is still unique, but there are behaviors that we all tend to lean towards with the ultimate goal of being the best of all 9. But we tend to kind of lean one way. And if you hear something about winging, so if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's say you're a type 1, you can wing 9. You can wing to 2, so the number after, right, the number before, or you don't have to wing at all, or you could have both kind of characteristics of behaviors. But when you're healthy, you can shoot across the Enneagram to some other type of behavior, and then when you're unhealthy, you shoot to another one. And so, Kasey, how did this all start for us to learn about it?
Well, I remember, I believe it was 2018 or 2019, we had at Liberty, we always do professional development as an athletic department, and we got an email that was like saying this woman was coming to speak on the Enneagram, and that it encouraged all staff to take the Enneagram test before going to this department meeting. And so we took it, and not really knowing anything about it, not knowing what the score meant, just kind of reading about it and being like, oh yeah, like I guess this is kind of describes me. And then when we went to that department meeting, when the woman was speaking, I forget her name, but she was talking about it, and she was basically describing each number. And so when me and Coach, we talk about this all the time, but when they were they're like, okay, and your type sixes, this is what a type 6 looks like, and I'm a type 6. So when they were talking about type 6, Coach was like looking at me, and she was like, her eyes got so big, and she was like, oh my gosh, that's you. And
I go, that's you.
We got so tickled. And then they say type 7, and we were like, oh my gosh, that's you, Coach. Like, so it was so like eye-opening just how weird it is, like that they just like nailed everything about our personalities down. And I just think, I just to kind of add to what Coach said, it's like I've heard everything about the Enneagram, everything from it's stupid to it's demonic to it's, whatever, it's so good for me. I've heard everything about it. But the thing that made me interested in it is like, number one, I've always wanted to know about why people think the way they do. And I think what's important to know about the Enneagrams, it's not just like, oh, you're an introvert, or oh, you're an extrovert. It's basically telling you why you behave the way you do, or like what drives certain behaviors that you're exhibiting throughout your life and what caused that to happen. So I think it goes a little bit deeper than just your generic personality tests. And I think that's why we're able to get so much out of it.
Oh yeah, like professional development. For me through the years in business, it was amazing because it would be like, all right, you're introverted, extroverted, or I'm a red and a green on the disc, and I'm like, okay, well, what did I really do with it? This is something that is very practical. And I remember Bob, he would tell me, you don't get people. You don't understand other people. And I started thinking, I go, he's right. Like, why are people like so drama or crying all the time, or just not happy, or not this or that, or how come they can't see this, and not in judgment, just looking in facts going, I am different and people are different. Right. And,
oh, yeah.
And then I always wondered, you and I both were talking about, well, how come our team, they don't get along with, some people do with some others, but some don't. And I was like, in my life, I'm like, well, I'm just playing softball. I love softball. I really don't care if I'm socializing with anybody. I'm like loving it. I'm in my own little world. That's a 7, right? I mean, but we realize that we have to help these young ladies be able to have relationships with people, to understand them better. And we, as a coaching staff, need to understand each other better. Plus, how do we help the girls to be able to grow in their relationships with other people, but also themselves? I mean, Kasey, don't you think there's so much like anxiety or worry or the mental side that these girls come to us with?
Oh yeah, I mean, being a student athlete in general, and I especially think in this day and age, and with, how much people are on their phones or in their own world, I think there's a lot of anxiety, especially socially. And I think that it's important for us as coaches, and also like anyone who's in charge of young people. So teachers, college professors, anybody that interacts with them on a daily basis, I think it's super important to kind of understand where that anxiety is stemming from. And if anyone takes a look at the Enneagram, it's so easy to just know, like, okay, I'm this number. This is a good, like, I'm not crazy. This is why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, or why I'm getting so much anxiety about this one thing. Because what's important to know about the Enneagram is like, there's not just one number that gets anxiety. there's not just one number that is fearful. There's just like different reasons that drive those behaviors. So
Yeah,
like me
all
and
numbers,
coach,
right, have fear.
yeah, for sure. And so like me and coach, our personalities are very different, but like if we have coach is like all about positivity and I'm all about being real. So like in when we get anxiety, it's about different things. And hers would be more about there's too much negativity, I can't stand it, I'm getting anxiety. And mine would be more about just like I'm worried about the future. Like there's just different behaviors and different reasons why we both feel anxiety, but it's just good to kind of know, you know, why they're feeling anxiety, ask the right questions and be able to help them.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing. We're talking about it in a team atmosphere, but this is good for your marriage and your other relationships as well, because we've, as we study the Enneagram, I understand what Dot doesn't want me to say, and she knows what not to say to me and things like that. So it really helps your marriage as well. So I encourage your husband, your wives, your husbands, take the test together and then study it, and you'll have a better relationship for it. I really believe that.
For example, and we'll get to each one of them, we'll go in order, but Bob being a 5, he's that intellect, right? And he's got to study and he's got to feel like he's mastered, what he's studying. Well, earlier in our marriage, I would ask him a question and he couldn't answer it right away. And I thought, this is an easy question. Like I'm asking the question thinking, I know what the answer is. Why doesn't he say it? And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, he'll come to me with the answer. And so now I know that Bob needs to feel that he is almost like an expert in order to answer something, that he's going to research it and figure it out. And so when I ask him a question now, I'm at peace with knowing in 2 or 3 days, he'll come to me with the elaborate answer, which is well educated, and well studied. But let's talk about type 1 model of behavior. So let's go through it, Kasey, because I assigned you to be the expert on it and you took it and you did it.
Yes. Well, a type 1 is known as the perfectionist. So they are driven by being perfect. They have a inner critic, basically that tells them what's right and what's wrong. It tells them if they did the right thing or not. They have a very strong moral compass. Everything's black and white to them. So whatever they deem right and wrong in their mind, it's very black and white. And that being said, like ones are different. Like not everyone has high moral integrity. They could be different across the board. Like there are ones that are not Christians that could deem right and wrong totally different than what a Christian man or woman would deem. Their vice is anger. They tend to get angry. And it's not like when a 1 would lash out or get angry or upset, it's generally not at people around them. It's mainly at themselves and they take it out on others. They are very hard workers. They're very driven. And that is because they want to be perfect at whatever they're doing. So when coaching a 1 or when dealing with a 1 in any type of relationship, it's really important to give them words of affirmation and just kind of tell them like, hey, I love what you're doing. Be specific about what they're doing, not speak in generalities or else they think you're being fake. But ones are very interesting because they're very personable and they like relationships. They're a very dependent type. But they also like being by themselves a lot. So it's like when they're with a group or when they're with people that they love being with, they're very social, but then they might not want to hang out, any other time. They like being by themselves. They like being comfortable, because they feel like when they're with people that they're being judged, because honestly, they do a lot of, because they're so critical of themselves, they really do a lot of judging other people. And that's not like, if you're a 1 out there listening, I'm not saying you guys are all judgmental. I'm just saying it's like, it's a natural thing because you have an inner critic and you're constantly thinking like, oh my gosh, do they think I'm not working hard? I'm working hard. oh my gosh, did she think I didn't do a good job on that? I did the best job I possibly could. So it's just constant, an inner dialogue with a one, but they're a very interesting type in my opinion.
And it's a difficult type with that model of behavior that they choose, because there's only been one perfect person who's walked this earth, and Jesus Christ is that person who's also divinity. So the biggest thing I'll tell our ones, which is kind of, I don't mean this in a funny way, but it is hysterical, really. Once when you understand, you'll see your players, like they'll take a strike down the middle, right? Or one they're looking for, let's say inside, and step out of the box and go, "Whoa!" Like it's so hard for them, right? To like, "Whoa," you could just see it. You'll also see them if they're, let's say, 3 for 4. So that last at bat, they didn't get a hit. And they'll come into the dugout and they are ticked off. I mean, they are you can see flames just coming out of their ears. And a teammate will come up to them and pat them on the back, let's say, and they'll pull away, like, don't touch me, like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what were our players were like, oh, look at, who does she think she is? Oh, it's all about her. Like, look at, I just tried to comfort her and she just, pulled away from me and I hate her, blah, 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 But the reality is we start introducing to the team, and the team culture gets better, because all of a sudden the ones go, wait a minute, I'm mad because I let you down. I'm mad because I know that I'm better than that. I'm mad because I've practiced and prepared myself to be better than that. And then we say, well, what do we do when you're angry? And they say, just give me a couple minutes. That's all I need. Right? That's all I need. And when that started to become apparent and the team knew and understand, and we identified those, type ones, and they all would have a chance to talk, it was amazing how they were received, in the future from that point. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah. It completely changed the way the team handled that type of, like, when they had their outbursts or when they were upset, completely changed the way they viewed it.
And the biggest thing we told them too, it was like, don't use this as a crutch. Don't just say, well, I'm a 1. The point is, identify what your behavior is and choose to not go down that road to where that vice of being angry. The other thing I've been saying, I don't know if it's helping at all, but I'll tell our ones, redefine what perfection is. What is perfect is your pursuit of perfection, because not everyone pursues to be perfect. And I don't know, I'm thinking that might have relaxed some of our ones just a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped for sure.
I'm impressed. Are you reading something, Kasey, or you just have this all memorized?
Oh no, I love the Enneagram, so I know I can just go off the top of my head.
And there's like on YouTube, before I forget, you can search YouTube Enneagram, and there's whole channels just dedicated to the Enneagram, and some of them are quite funny actually, because they
Yes.
they kind of make fun of things that an 8 might say, or things not to say to an 8, they're pretty funny. So I just wanted to mention that. Check it out. There's memes all over the place as well for Enneagram, but funny stuff. Let's get on to Enneagram number 2.
Type 2, that is what is known as the helper. So in the female athletic world, we get a lot of 2s. There's just they are very driven by the want to please people. Basically what 2s are is they have a lot of feelings, and they strive. Their number one thing in life is to make sure people know they can't exist without them. So they want to make sure that they have what you need before you even know you need it. They are very much, they'll do whatever you need, whatever you ask. They're very dependent. They love relationships. They're the type that kind of gets walked all over for the most part, just because like they don't know when to say no. Coach gives a great example to the team. Sometimes she's like, if this person was studying for a final and they're about to take this super important final, and you ask them to go fill up your car with gas, they would do it. So that's just kind of a 2. like encompassing what a two means, but they are very just giving people. They're servant hearts. We have quite a bit of twos on our team, but we have to teach them like to choose themselves sometimes over choosing others, just because it's important for their mental health. But coaching a two is just, and honestly, every time I say coaching, I also mean dealing with them in relationships. It's just important when giving criticism or giving feedback to make sure it's sandwiched in between compliments. So, hey, you're doing a great job. Love it. We need to work on this a little bit, but I love the way you're working on that. Like, just a lot of positivity with twos. Just because if you aren't positive with them, they feel like they're letting you down, which is like the worst possible thing that a two personality could experience. So they're just the main thing to know about twos is they will give and give and give and give until they can't give anymore, and they will constantly put others before themselves.
Yeah, I think with the two, the biggest thing though is realize they have a martyr syndrome a little bit, right? So for example,
Right.
a two has this project and they're going to do it and they're going to prove they can do it on their own. So let's say I walk by and I'll say, hey, do you need some help on that? Looks like you got a lot going on. No, I got it, coach. I got it. Then an assistant will walk by and say, hey, you need some help? Looks like you got a lot going on. Nope, I'm good. I'm good. And then all of a sudden you'll have a director of ops come by and, hey, you need some help? I can help you with that. Nope, no, I'm good. They'll get the project done. They'll be all excited about it. And then they'll say, it was so much work and I had to do it all by myself. Nobody would help me.
Yep, that's two.
That's a two. Oh, but I think it's important now. Let's talk about a 1-wing 9 versus a 1-wing 2, since we talked about two. So what's the difference when you'd see a 1-wing 9?
Well, when you talk about wings, like everyone wings both ways, kind of what you were saying at the beginning, coach. But most people wing one way more than another. So a 1-wing 9 is versus a 1-wing 2. Those are going to be two very, very different personalities. So if somebody tends to wing more 9 than they do 2, it's going to be a very stark difference. So 1-wing 9 is going to be the 9, which we'll get to later, is the peacemaker. And they're just a very calm presence. And so when the 1, the harsh critic of the 1, wings to the super calm, peaceful nature of the 9, you kind of get a balancing act, and they become more about like a product of their environment. They become more like, okay, I want to keep the peace, rather than I will pursue moral integrity with all of my heart, like regardless of who I like plow down along the way. So a 1-wing 2, on the other hand, is your more emotional type. They are going to be like, if they don't see their pursuit of perfection going the way that they want it to, that they will resort to, crying, lashing out. They're a little bit more roller coaster of emotions versus a 1-wing 9. So, I mean, both types are going to be, both 1-wing 9 and 1-wing 2 are still going to be, strong moral compass. They're going to really display one characteristics very strongly, but the 9 is definitely going to be a more calming presence than the 1-wing 2.
So let's talk about a 3.
Ooh, 3 is my favorite.
We got a lot of 3s.
Yes, and
the
I'm
achiever.
3, and my sister's a 3. So 3s are the achiever. Success is their driving factor. They want to be the best at whatever they do. They're very competitive. They are workaholics, so they find their identity a lot in what they do, and they, no matter what it is, they're going to be the best at it. And it could be something as trivial as washing the dishes. Like they're going to be the best at it. They love words of affirmation. They are, they place a lot of value in what they do, what they wear, looking the best, feeling the best, making sure their bodies look good. Just whatever, like 3, there are different 3s, obviously. Like my sister is very much driven by being the best hitting coach she could possibly be. So like, I know she always asks coach, like, she wants to know if she's doing a good job. And then my husband is like, he wants to be the best strength coach he could possibly be. And then they have different ways of like, Sammy makes sure she has her hair done, she's got her nails done, she's got her eyelashes done. And Will's like, I need the best shoes I can have, which I'm like, okay, I had to download a whole entire app just to get him a Christmas present this year. But anyways, it's like, threes are very much about image. They're very much about they can fit into any crowd. They're kind of like chameleons, because they want everyone to like them. That goes into like being the best at what they do. So they're a cool type. I love threes because they're so easy to coach. They just want to be the best, so they'll work the hardest. They want to be the center of attention, so they're not afraid of the spotlight. They have a lot going for them.
However, remember the mistakes I made. One is you don't ever criticize a 3 in front of a lot of people.
Yes, do not call them out.
The other is do not interrupt them while they are focused on what they're doing. Remember that with turning a double play, and I was talking about footwork, or you'll see a 3 when they're hitting off a machine or even front toss live pitching, whatever it might be, and you're trying to give them feedback while they're taking their reps. Not good. So they'll look at you, but they'll turn and look, ready to go. Like they'll look at you to try and respect you, but they're looking to get the task done. So I've learned, because of the Enneagram, let them do it. Then when they're done with the task, then talk to them for correction, right?
Yes. Anything that keeps a 3 from doing something efficiently is going to make them upset, because their day is jam-packed, as full as it can get, and they're going to do every task as efficiently as possible and make sure they get to the end of that list. So if you impede that progress in any way, they're going to be upset.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about a 4.
Fours. We actually haven't had a lot of 4s in our program, but 4s are the individualist or the romantic. They are extremely emotional and very unique. 4s are probably one of the most unique types, besides a 7. They believe there's no one else in the world like them. They believe that there is no one on this earth who can understand them. They are torn between wanting people to understand them and also between like being prideful that they're so unique that no one knows what they're thinking. They believe authenticity is the number one thing that they have. So they're like going to be their true selves no matter what. Nothing can change that, no matter if it's like a situation where social wise it's not acceptable to do something. They're like, well, I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to do it anyways. So 4s are, a lot of times they are very melancholy. They find like they're very artistic, and a lot of like musicians and poets and like Hollywood actors, a lot of them are 4s because they're so like, they're artistic and they're unique, and they're I don't want to say sad, but they find beauty in depression. They find beauty in like in just like things like, I remember my mom's favorite Christian song was like, I'm tired, I'm worn. And I was like, why is that your favorite song? My mom's a 4, sorry for the no context, but I was like, why is that your favorite song? It's so sad. And she's like, I know, isn't it beautiful? And I'm like, no.
You're like, no.
Dot's pointing at me the whole time because she says I'm a 5'4", but
oh my god,
I think I'm a 5'6".
Well, let's talk about really quick the 3-wing 2 versus the 3-wing 4.
The 3-wing 2 is going to be more social. So they're like your charmer. I believe that's what it's called. They are outgoing. They're definitely more about pleasing people. So they got that, that 2-wing where they want to please people. So they're a lot more outgoing than 3-wing 4. 3-wing 4 is the professional. So they are the problem with the 3-wing 4 is they're constantly torn between fitting in and being authentic. So like they want to go with the crowd. They want to not cause any ripples or waves, but their 4-wing is like, no, that's not real. You're not being real. So they kind of withdraw a little bit more than the 3-wing 2 because they don't want to risk being inauthentic in order to fit in. So you got the 3-wing 4 is the professional. They're still wanting to achieve. They're just a little bit more reserved. And then you have the charmer who's like they're the social butterfly. They're going to be the center of attention, and they enjoy it. So
now let's go to 5, honey bunny.
Oh
Bye.
boy. Oh boy.
The Cinco.
I think I changed. I don't think I'm a 5 anymore.
No, you're definitely a 5.
Oh, great. It's not a bad thing. None of them are bad.
No, they're all great. So the 5 is the investigator. 5s are the most introverted type. So they get energy from being by themselves. When they're with other people, it like drains their battery.
Oh yeah. And we just had the whole team over for thanks.
And he disappeared for a while. Did you see that?
Yeah, I went downstairs. I ate by myself. That's not a 5. I'm not a 5.
You're a 5.
But 5s, their secret power is their knowledge. They are constantly seeking to know everything. There's no stone left unturned with a 5. They will read everything about something. They'll become an expert on the topic. And then if like you're wanting to hold a conversation with a 5, maybe somebody who's like shy or doesn't talk a lot, if you find something that interests them, they will talk about it, because they're comfortable. They know the topic. They don't risk like being embarrassed or anyone like trying to make them uncomfortable. They know the topic, so they'll talk about it as long as you want.
That's why us 5s do not like crowds, because we don't like small talk. We don't even want to get involved in that. So we're worried that somebody's going to start talking about something we don't know about, and we just stand there staring into space like, when can I go home?
Exactly. That's such a 5. But yeah, 5s are it's just important not to surprise them, take them out of their comfort zone, like spring anything on them like, hey, we're going to Vegas tomorrow. Like, not good for a 5.
Yeah, and I'm a 7. So that's a problem. So Bob, I never thought he was telling me the truth when he said, I don't want a birthday party. I don't want to be surprised. I'm like, come on, everybody loves a surprise birthday party. No.
That's his worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And she did it. Anyway.
I did it anyway.
Because she's a 7, so she wanted a party.
Oh, yeah.
But now I know better. So I'm like, have a boring birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey, if it's with the people that he loves, away from society, he's happy.
Yes.
Society. You make us sound like we live in a sewer somewhere. Maybe there's a whole colony of 5s beneath the surface of the earth or something.
No, listen, 5s will socialize. They just they need preparation. They need to know how long they have to be there. They need to know when they're going. They need to know who's going to be there, and then they're fine. And that's all and then they need to recharge their battery, and they're good to go.
So for our team Thanksgiving turkey dinner, I gave him a lot of notice. When in the past, I would have said, team's coming over tomorrow. Let's go.
Well, good job, Coachy.
So how would you say a 4-wing 3 versus a 4-wing 5?
A 4-wing 3 that's going to be the 4 who is outgoing. They are going to be social. They're going to care more about fitting in. It's kind of like the flip of the 3-wing 4. So they're gonna try more to fit in social situations rather than just being their true authentic self, no matter what. And then the 4-wing 5 is going to be somebody who they really, really question a lot of like, why am I the way I am? Why is the world this way? Just because they have that hunger to seek knowledge and like ask questions and why of the 5. And then they have the like, the authenticity, I'm so unique, I no one thinks the way I do of the 4. So they're going to be a little bit more reserved because they have that 5 wing.
Dot's pointing at me again. All right, let's get to the 6 because we got to get to 7s.
Oh no.
This is so 6 is Kasey.
Yep, that's me. 6s are the loyalist. So a 6 is driven by fear. I'm 6. I say me because, I'm just talking about myself right now, but I'm highly anxious, driven by fear, very dependent on relationships. I love relationships. 6s are basically doomsday people, so constantly preparing for the worst, but also like living in the present for the most part, because the future and the past are like, no, don't want to see the future, don't want to remember the past because it might, haunt us a little bit. So we're living in the present, but also like constantly thinking of, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What do I do if this happens? But what if I have to do plan B, C, D, E, F, G? Like that's a 6. But the worry comes from, not being prepared and not being able to react in a situation that they've already thought about. So 6s are hard workers, but it's because they fear not being prepared. So that's why I love practice, because I feel like I'm preparing for the game. And then the game is showtime, which is what the 7 loves, but I love the practice part. I love the work leading up to it because I know I'm doing everything I possibly can to prepare for every scenario I could possibly imagine.
And it's hard for a 6 to gain someone's trust. But once when you do, that's the loyalist. You're going to fight for them.
So quickly. Go ahead, Kasey.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you didn't say how to coach a 4, 5, or 6. So do that quickly, Dorothy.
Oh, coaching wise? Well, I think the 6 is interesting because you really need to let them do what they feel they need to do to prepare. Lisa Fernandez is a 6. And I mean, as a roommate of mine and teammate forever, it was like, why do you have to do an hour of defense, an hour of pitching, an hour of hitting? It was an hour of strength and conditioning. Like, what? And now I get it. And she would kind of say that I need to know there's somebody else working harder. There's no way they're going to be working harder than me. And that was how she, just like you have said, as a Gatorade Player of the Year nationwide, coming out of high school and competitive athlete, you said the same thing, Kasey. It's like, I need to know that I'm prepared, and I'm prepared. And so you've got to let them prepare. But it's very hard for me because there is a lot of doubt. They have a lot of fear, right? And you have to somehow know how to connect with them to have them overcome that fear. And usually it's preparation. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say for 5s, though, in coaching them?
Coaching a 5, you have to make sure that they know what you expect of them, and then give them time to process information. So like, don't expect them, like if you say, hey, I want you to hit like this, like don't expect them to have questions for you or like master it in a day. Whether it's something as small as like, pick up the ball like this, like you have to give them time and to be able to process what you're saying, for them to think about it and then come back to you and ask questions, and then like really hone it without having like a deadline, like you have to fix it by this time.
And for the 4, I mean, I think you had a couple 4s that we had when you had said, don't change who you are, right? Be your authentic self was pretty powerful for that player.
Yeah. And that was before the Enneagram. Like I remember the 4 that we had, and I told her in her exit meeting, I was like, hey, we don't want you to change who you are. Like, we love who you are. We just want you to be a little bit more mature when you're dealing with failure. And I was like, I love the way you compete. I love how you want to win. Like, keep being yourself. Just like whenever you fail, just be a little bit more mature when you deal with it. And she ended up telling me, like, Mikey, sorry.
Mikey Korg.
Corgi only.
Corgi only.
Corgi only. Zip it, buddy. So she ended up telling me how important that was for her. Like, she was like, no one's ever told me to be who I am. Like, they've always tried to change me. And then whenever we found out she was a 4, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I said that.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I struggled with her. We butt heads.
Yeah,
but let's start the party.
The 7.
Oh, 7s. The enthusiast, the life of the party.
Woo!
So what
I don't think a lot of people can handle me.
I know, Coach, you're special.
I'm so special.
You're a special 7. There's no question about it. It can be difficult, people, being with a 7, but go ahead.
If anybody has a question about who a 7 is, and you know Dorothy Richardson, then all your questions are answered. I don't even need to explain it. It's just the epitome of 7s.
Yes.
So I think the most important thing to know about 7s is they need positivity. Negativity in any form, like telling them they can't, that's negative. Drama, negative. Just constant complaining, obviously for everyone, that's negative, but it drains them. So like a socializing for a 5 drains them, negativity drains the 7. They have this like zest for life. They are constantly like making fun out of nothing. They have to have something to look forward to. 7s don't try to contain them. They need freedom. They need to feel like they can do whatever they want. Even if that's true or not. Like if you tell them they can't, that's not giving them freedom. They need to be able to express themselves. They need to be able to have fun. They are very their vice is gluttony. So that doesn't mean gluttony in the sense of the word that everyone's thinking, but it kind of just means they get hyper focused on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they become obsessed, like let's say with softball, they'll just do softball until they die. Like it's just their number one obsession. So 7s get really hyper focused on things, and it could be something as small as like, eating strawberries. Like they love strawberries. I'm just going to eat strawberries until I turn into one. Like 7s get very hyper focused on that. But I think in dealing with 7s, the thing to do when you're coaching them or in a relationship with them is just be very honest, and also try to limit the amount of negativity. Like they don't mind if you're like, opening up to them or telling them a story about something and it has some sadness or negativity in it, but like constant complaining, constant negativity is just, it drains them, and they can't deal with it, and they'll remove themselves from the situation, or they'll just, you will think they don't care about you. That's how aloof they will become.
And she married
a 5.
A 5.
I'm living a nightmare.
Well, Kasey's
5-wing 4.
Listen,
5-wing 4.
The 7 works with a 6. So how's that working out?
Well, see, I'm a 6-wing 7.
Yeah.
But I think something that's good about my personality is I can kind of read when people are, I don't know, if they're feeling a different way, or if they're upset, or if they're mad, or if they've had enough. And so when I first got to Liberty, I kind of could tell. I didn't know why, but I would be like, okay, I'm not gonna complain to coach today, or like, okay, I'm not gonna tell her that we're not on time and I'm upset, like, or that she, or coach talked too long in the team room, and that I'm like, oh, now we're running late at practice. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna say all those things. I'm just gonna let her go. Now that I know she's a 7, I'm like, okay, so me, if I would have said those things, I would have known it would have made her upset, because number 1, it's negativity. Number 2, I'm boxing her in, because I'm like, coach, you can't talk that long.
Yeah, she don't like that. But you tell, since Dot's a 7, you tell us how to coach a 7. How would you coach Dorothy?
Oh, coaching Dorothy would be the easiest thing ever. Every single drill would be fun. I would just make sure she, I would just make sure that she, uh, I was constantly doing something new with her. So like I wouldn't ever make her do the same thing over and over and over again because then she would just like when a 7 is bored, then they become a loose cannon distraction. So
Oh, yes.
Like
they
when
cannot be bored.
if I'm bored at practice, I just will change the practice and it drives her
If
crazy.
she's bored at practice, she'll just be like, all right, I'm bored. We're changing it. So
That's like they call that a bull in the china closet. That's why I've described my beautiful wife sometimes.
But you know, when I look back at when I was 10 playing with the Union Park Jets, the average age of the team was 22, right? And I'm 10. I just remember the coach never confined me. You said the word is freedom. You know, like I was able to express myself. I've said that before, just express yourself. And then when I was with the Orlando Rebels with Marge Ricker, she never boxed me in. She never said I was jumping too high or why do you jump before you get in the batter's box or why do you throw the ball so hard all the time? Why do you like sprinting here and there and going and you know what I mean? She just always let me be who I was expressing myself to be. And I thought, you know, now that I know the Enneagram, I can totally see that's the way to coach is 7.
mm-hmm. Very important.
So now a 5-wing 6 versus a 5-wing 4.
A 5-wing 6 versus a 5-wing 4. Okay, so fives in general are so interesting to me because I haven't really studied them at all. Just because we don't have a lot of 5s for some reason. But 5-wing 4s are they're going to be the type they're introverted, but also they need to express themselves. So like with people they feel close with, they need to be able to talk about whatever, vent about whatever, and for you to know that they don't want you to fix it. So like whatever they're feeling, they just need to get it out. And it might take them a long time to get there because they're 5. But they need to talk and they need to get it out. So they're still going to be introverted because they're 5, but probably a little bit more outgoing than the 5-wing 6. The 5-wing 6 is going to be basically your typical ball of anxiety. They don't like social interaction. They have the anxiety of a 6 and the fear of a 6. And then also the kind of hermit tendencies of the 5. So they're probably also, though, what's important to know is like 5s have a really good sense of humor.
Bobby does.
Good sense of humor. Yep. And they're very witty people. So I think you can see that both with the 5-wing 4 and the 5-wing 6. I think the biggest difference is just going to be socially. They're a little bit more aware. 5-wing 4s are a little bit more socially aware, socially competent, even though they don't want to be in that social environment. If they find themselves in it, they're able to like survive, versus the 5-wing 6, they don't want any part of it. They're not comfortable in it, and they try to remove themselves from social interaction as much as possible.
Well, that tells me I'm a 5-wing 4, but then now she's shaking her head. Yeah, I'm a 5-wing 6. So I don't know.
No, I'm shaking my head because of Joe.
Oh, little
Joe is a 5-wing 6.
Yeah, Joe does. Yeah, okay.
All right. Now yourself, you got a 6-wing 5 or a 6-wing 7?
A 6-wing 5. 6s are also kind of like 5s in their sense of humor. They're very self-deprecating. Their humor is self-deprecating. So the 6-wing 5 is going to be very like we have had a couple 6-wing 5s on our team, and I'm nothing like them. So I'm a 6-wing 7, but my 6-wing 7 is I can't take a lot of negativity or drama. So I'm more outgoing. I'm more like, I like doing social things. I like planning things, like planning like vacations, planning parties, planning like cooking a dinner or like gatherings. Like I love doing that kind of thing. And then once once it happens, I like am like regretting the whole thing. So like my 7 wing takes over and I'm like, woohoo, planning vacations. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fun. And then we get there and I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this? Oh my gosh, no. And then the 6 wing 5 is more, they're gonna have more of the 5 tendencies to stay away from social interactions. They need to be by themselves. They're gonna basically they're gonna have roller coaster days. So I feel like the 6 wing 7s are more consistent with like where they're at on a daily basis, just like being the same every day. And then the 6 wing 5 is gonna be more like more up and down with their emotions, just because they're either like, I'm at my 6, I can socialize with people. I'm at my 5, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to do anything. Like it's more of a roller coaster with 6 wing 5.
So let's get to the 8.
The 8.
Interesting.
Oh yes.
I wing 8, 7 wing 8.
I have a soft spot for 8s. I just love them. Because they're so funny. Like the way they see life is just hysterical to me. The 8 is the challenger. They basically, their constant need is to be against something. So they have to be
I know people like that.
Yes, they have, like, they love arguing, they love debating. They think if you like agree with them too quickly that you're weak. They don't care about people's feelings. If they hurt your feelings, they're like, well, that's your fault. It's not mine.
Yeah.
They are extremely confident people. You get a lot of lawyers that are 8s. You have, let's see, they are extremely, when they're like, what's the word I'm trying to say? They have a lust for life. That's their vice. It's lust. They are constantly like, basically they have kind of the 7 part of them where they get obsessed with something. But they basically, the thing you need to know about 8s, the most important thing I think you need to know about them is that they are no nonsense. When coaching them, it's like they don't care who you are. They don't care about like really truly what you say unless they respect you. Like respect is number 1 for them. So they're like, if they argue with you and you're like, you fight back with them, but not really fight, like engage in a debate with them, they're like, okay, I can respect them, which is huge for them. But like when coaching them, you don't have to give them compliments. You don't really have to supervise them at all because they don't
know what to do with it. Care. Right.
I love it. I love 8s because they're just so funny. No, they don't know what to do with
it.
They just like,
you told one of our players a compliment and she turned around and said, Coach Fagan, what am I supposed to do with that? I was like, what?
She said, hey, what do you want me to do when you compliment me? And I was like, what do you mean? I was kind of like, what? Like, what do you mean? What do I want you to do? And she was like, well, like, what do you want? You want me to say thank you? Like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't, you don't have to do anything. I'm just telling you good job. So, like, I'm trying to instill that in you. Like, good job. Keep doing that. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, I don't like compliments. And I was like, okay, good to know. You're
and our two 8s during our exit meetings here in the fall, we were complimenting both of them and they're just standing there like, I really don't know what to do with that.
Please give me something negative. We were like,
yeah, one of them said, give me something negative. I need to know what do I got to work on here?
Yeah, you don't find that very often. So how do you coach an 8?
Be direct, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Be direct.
Say it as it is.
Yep. You don't have to sugarcoat anything. You can say, hey, you're really bad at this. I need you to get better at it. And they'll be like, all right. They'll do it. But my brother is an 8. Oh my gosh. He cracks me up. Like, doesn't care whose feelings he hurts. Like, he's not intentionally trying to hurt people's feelings, but if he does, he's like, so? I didn't mean it. And I'm just like, I wish I could live my life.
That sounds like Kevin. Is Kevin your dad? What is he?
He's a 1.
He's a 1.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
I know. It's crazy. My whole family is different types. It's crazy.
So we've only had one 7 other than myself. And she was not like me. She was a 7 wing 6 and I'm a
Yes.
7 wing 8. So what do you see with me as a head coach with an 8? When does that show up? Can you recognize it?
Oh yeah, coach. Of course I can. I think I used to notice it when like we had a couple different director of ops and coach would say, I want to fly out of Lynchburg. And they'd be like, no, well, we can't really work that out. And coach would be like, oh no, you're like, she would get really upset when they said, no, we can't. And she'd be like, no. Like we're doing it. When coach is like coach, when you've like had enough, like that's when it starts coming out. Like when people are just
when they say it's impossible, there's no way to do it. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we could go 2 different groups and meet in Charlotte, right? Like a solution.
Yeah.
Creativity.
You get when you've had enough, when you're done. So when people, I guess maybe there's too much negativity or people just making excuses, like that's when the 8 comes out with you, I've noticed. But the 7 wing 8 is, they're going to be all the positivity and excitement of the 7. And then also like the never back down of an 8. So like debate you. I love debates. Seeking justice. I forgot to mention that about 8s. They want justice. That's like very important for them. Justice for whatever they think is correct. And then the 7 wing 6 is just going to be same positivity of a 7, but just a little bit more cautious, like a 6. They're not going to like, they might not go bungee jumping like coach would. They'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm going to sit this one out. Like they're just a little bit more on the safe side.
So let's talk about the 9.
The 9.
Last but not least, the peacemaker.
Yes. 9s, they are awesome. They're just super chill. They want their environment to be peaceful, no matter what the cost. So they want to be comfortable. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They are, if they get upset, they tend to be passive aggressive, mainly because they don't like confrontation. So 9s will listen a lot. They don't really say a lot, but they listen to everything. So like coach always says, 9s know, like if you ask them what's going on within the group or the team, they'll know, but they won't talk, like they won't speak about it. And
not in front of the group.
Why they know, the reason why they know is because they're constantly listening. And they want a peaceful environment, because if they don't have that peace, it gives them a lot of anxiety. That's why they don't like to confront people. That's why, like, if you ask them to choose, they don't want to choose. They want you to choose. So if you're like, hey, where do you want to go eat? Don't ask a 9 that. They'll be like, I don't care, whatever you want. Like
or pick them to be the captain on a team to pick their team.
Yes.
And the other thing, remember the mistake I'd make is I'd have them stand up and introduce themselves in front of the team.
Yes,
not good.
I was just going to say that. I was like, they don't like being the center of attention. They don't like talking in front of people. They just want to fade into the background and not be noticed at all.
But you pull them aside, they know everything.
Yeah, but
what's going on?
How is a 9 an athlete playing in front of all those people? If they don't want to be noticed.
This is what I've noticed, Kasey. I've noticed they don't perform well until something clicks, whether it's something in their life, right? We had a 9 for 2 years, was never reaching her full potential. And all of a sudden, her last 2 years, hitting 430, I mean, just a totally different player. And, we had a couple of pitchers who were 9s, and just something clicks. What do you think clicks?
I think they just make up their mind. Like, I think they just get kind of sick of it, like sick of being scared, sick of being, just okay with being okay. I think something is like them just getting over it, and they're like, no, I'm just gonna do it now. Like, I'm sick of it. So I think what's important to know about coaching a 9 is 9s are similar dealing like to deal with like than a 5 dealing with a 5. It's very similar. You need to give them time to process. You can't put them on the spot. It's like the only thing different about a 9 is like if you're one-on-one with them, that helps a lot. So like being one-on-one, they will open up to you more. They need to feel like it's more of a friendship to them in order to really reach their full potential. They need to feel very comfortable.
I remember a 9. Our center fielder was a 9, right?
Yeah.
When I was coaching.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense now, what you're saying. Yeah, she did not want to be singled out or called out or, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in closing, when we talk about, the Enneagram, I think it's important kind of to realize that we're complicated people, right? And there's different intensities of each model of behavior. But if you look at the 8, 9, and 1, they're the gut, G-U-T, gut triad. Then you've got the 2, the 3, and the 4, and they're the heart triad, right? The emotion. And then you've got the 5, 6, and 7s, the thinkers, the brain. And so really quickly, Kasey, talk about the confusion or, the confusion when you're in the middle of the triad, like the 9, right? The 3 and the 6.
Yeah. So like Coach said, it's gut, heart, and head. And usually when you're in those sectors or those different triads, that's how a lot of times you make decisions based on like, if you're in the heart type, you base it on how you're feeling. If you're a head type, it's based on what you're thinking. And if you're gut type, it's based on your instinct. So when you're in the middle, so those numbers that are in the middle, a lot of times they basically, so for example, a 3 is in the middle of a 2 and a 4. So 9 times out of 10, if you ask a 3 how they're feeling, if they're sad or whatever, they don't know. They will say, I don't know, because they're in the middle of the heart types. So they're in the middle of the 2 and the 4. And why they don't know what they're feeling is because if the 2, they're worried about pleasing people. So that's that wing. And then the 4 wing is worried about being authentic. So they're like, the 3's like, well, I want to please people. This is when they're making a decision. I want to please people, but wait, that's not really how I feel. So I'm not being authentic, but wait, is that going to hurt their feelings? But wait, I don't care because that's not me being authentic. And it's just then it just creates this tornado. And so then they're like, you know what? I don't know how I feel. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going to retreat into my own self.
Well, you're in the middle.
You're in the middle, 6.
Yes. So a 6 is in the middle of a 5 and a 7. So the 5 wing is like, I have to know, they're like thinking through, making decision. A 5, I need to know every single thing about what I'm deciding before I decide. But then the 7's like, woohoo, fun. No. I wanted to make the decision that's going to be the most fun. But wait, what if that's the scariest decision? Like, what if I don't know anything about that? But wait, it's most fun.
Oh
and
my
then it's like,
God.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't want to be you.
Yeah. So the best example I can give of that is 6's overthink. And it's like in practice, like if coach goes like 10 minutes over when she's talking about something and I'm like, well, great. Now we have to eliminate something completely from practice. And coach is like, why don't we just go 10 minutes longer? And I'm like, oh yeah, like we could do that. But like my brain is like, like overthinking.
Yep. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you about a 6. One thing about Kasey and those 6, in times of emergencies or crisis, they show up. Like there was in the parking lot, a car was getting jumped, with another battery of a car with a battery, right? And a fire started. Well, Kasey right away just took her shirt off, used it because it's super hot, and was able to take those jumper cables off, right?
Yeah,
and everyone stood watching her like, oh my gosh, that was awesome, right?
No, coach, this was so funny. You weren't here for this. But it was during one of our fall games. Okay, so my backpack was sitting underneath the garage door for the batting cages, and my computer was inside my backpack. Well, I'm sitting on the bench by the bullpen, and Sammy starts like shutting the garage doors, but I didn't notice. And like I look over there at the last second, and the door is probably 6 inches away from smashing my backpack. So I go, Sammy, and all the girls are in the bullpen, like they're all in there, like waiting for the next game. And I was like, Sammy, and she didn't hear me. So I sprint over there, do a pop-up slide, grab my backpack and throw it. And the girls were all like, oh my gosh, Coach Bacon, how was that? You look like you were in the CIA.
That was like Indiana Jones when he had to grab his hat, remember? Before the door.
Like, you're 6. I can't believe, like, that's so true. You guys are good under pressure. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, you've been listening to Coach too much.
In closing, since there's so much information here, we can go on, and we've already gone over an hour. So,
but let's talk about the 9 really fast.
Talk about the 9. In between the 9s.
They're in the got triad thing where they're in between the 8 and 1. So when making decisions, the 9's like, well, what do I want? Because that's the 8. They're like, what do I want? But then they're going to the 1 on the other side. That's like, well, is what I want right? Is that right? And they're like, well, I don't care if it's right. It's what I want. But wait, I need to do what's right. No. I want to do what I want. So it's like ding, 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 ding again. So then that's why they retreat and don't make a decision. So that's why 9s are very like, nope, do whatever you want. I don't care. Like, I don't want to make a decision. So,
well, hopefully everyone listening's realize like, wait a minute. Wow. The model of behavior here, that sounds like such and such, or that sounds like me, or there's so much you can dive in. Like, for example, for me as a 7, when I'm unhealthy, right, and stress, I jump over to the bad behaviors, if you would, of a 1, right, the anger side. So I always give that joke about like umpires, like I pray before I go out to talk to an umpire, right, on a questionable call maybe. But the others, when I'm super healthy and happy, I go to a 5. I don't mind just being alone and watching a movie or doing whatever. So it's complicated, but it's also intriguing. And I think it's important for people in general to try and understand themselves and other people. And also to, as a coach, your job is about relationships. Like, I know to ask Kasey how someone is feeling because she's really intuitive with that stuff. For me, I don't have a clue. It's just strange. I'm like, okay, stop crying and let's solve it. Those type of things. So I need to work on that. We all need to work on being the best of every single type. Anything you want to say in closing, Kasey?
Just that the Enneagram it's like you said, it's a very complex thing. And I think it's the most important thing is to understand yourself first. And I think if people are listening, haven't taken the test, that's the first step. And then read about the type and decide if that's what you are. And then kind of just understand a little bit more about yourself and like why certain things anger you, why certain things make you happy. What do you need? What do you need in order to be at your healthiest and your state of mind? So I think that's the most important thing before you can even concentrate on building relationships with others is to understand yourself. And I think the Enneagram really helps do that. And it really helps understand how you connect with God the best. And how because I think God's obviously given us all, different personalities, different talents, different ways to connect with people. And I think that as personally learning about the Enneagram and learning about my own personality type has really helped me understand my God-given abilities a lot more. And the way that I worship, like why I feel so connected to God in certain ways. It's like, because he speaks to me in that way. He's my protector. I'm so secure in him. And that's number 1 with the 6, like being secure. And I think that's super important too. Like, I'm like, I need somebody who's never going to leave me, who's always going to be there and knows every single flaw that I have. So I think it makes you grow closer to the Lord, just learning about yourself like that. And I think it's it's just super important, and understanding how you work in relationships.
Kasey and Dot, thank you so much. You guys are awesome with the Enneagram.
Thanks for having us, honey.
Oh, well, I don't have you, honey. You're here
Not me.
anytime you want. No, I mean on the podcast. You're my co-host. But if you guys want more information, just let me know at the end of the music as we leave. There'll be my email address, and then I can get questions to Dot and Kasey. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Kasey. Great job.
Thank you, Kasey.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
God bless everybody.
Hi, guys. This is Bob Pinto, your host. You've been listening to Faithful Coach. Thank you for listening. We're so happy you're here. We're blessed to have you. We are a ministry and a podcast for, to, and by Christian coaches. We're here to encourage you, support you, teach you. We know what it's like to be Christian coaches, and we know how difficult it can be, and it's likely to get more difficult in the days to come. If you're not part of our group and you'd like to be, you can email me at bob@faithfulcoach.com. bob@faithfulcoach.com. Again, guys, thank you for listening. We hope you were encouraged today. We will talk to you soon. God bless you.